You right, Ollie?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Very good. We've got a very full house this evening, which is pleasing to see. We've got some people wandered in from the track, the ostriches down the far end there, and Alice. We've got the Millwall supporters table over in the far corner. And, Mr. Clooney and whatever that table, Mr. Laurie and Mr. Griffin, almost the past president table there, right? Mr. Peel and his cohort, and Professor Haynes on here. So it's Roger County here and Gareth are redesigning the kitchen for the new building at the moment. So we're interrupting their work schedule. You might wonder what it'll look like after the kitchen. Anyway, I'll get on with the news. The highlight of my week, I don't know about the club's week, was my trip to Jersey. We sent a team over there for a pre-season, really friendly track and field meeting against Jersey and Guernsey combined teams. We were a little bit fortunate from a competitive point of view that due to the weather, half the Guernsey team couldn't get across because they were coming by boat and the weather was too rough. But half of them had flown over and they did get there. We had quite an exciting landing, I have to say, when we flew over. But the pilot landed it It was one of those landings where half the passengers are screaming and the other half are clapping. Anyway, it's interesting, the Jersey trip, because this used to be something of a regular event. So I think we went there certainly in the late 70s, and I think again in the late 80s. And there was a gentleman there, remembered Mike, and he remembered Ken Daniel as well. So that's just the truth. Some people you'd never forget. And I'd like to thank you. If you want to look on social media, Jim Phelan very kindly sent us some pictures of the 1988 trip over there, and there's a great shot of quite a few people I can see. This room here. Anyway, on to the match this weekend. So this was my first time of going away with a team, and I was impressed not only with their athletic performances, but their performances generally. I mean, they really were great ambassadors for the club. And in fact, one of the John Hubbard, our sort of officials man, who stayed on a few days afterwards, the staff at the hotel, not knowing who he was, actually said what a nice bunch they'd had over the weekend, which was a great compliment, because you take a group of young people away, like young Holly here, and goodness knows what might happen. So we did win the match by 159 points to 105, but that was in some ways a little bit academic. It was very interesting because there were what I call some of the more innovative events. So we had mixed relay matches, men and women, 2 of each in each team, and to help with the logistics of the meeting, we had long distance races were run both age groups and both men and women together, and actually that made it quite exciting and also embarrassing. Some of the men beaten by the women. I won't go through all the results, there were so many, and everybody did a great job out there. Gypsy Nash won the women's hammer throw with a new PB, so that's worth mentioning, 43.24 metres. There were a number of other good throwing performances. Performance of the day was probably in the javelin, where James Whittaker, who is an international javelin thrower from us, he threw 69.54 metres to win. Now, James is aiming to, he would like to get to the Commonwealth Games this year, so he's got to hit 77 metres. And he partly came because he hoped, there was an official meeting, properly measured. Unfortunately, the javelin throw there is straight into what was the prevailing wind, which was going at about 20 to 30 miles an hour, so it wasn't exactly ideal for javelin throwers. Or for pole vaulters, Holly. On the track, Morgan Squibb had 2 great runs in the 400 and the 800 metres, and she also did a fantastic leg in the 4x400 relay, where she came from well behind to catch up with the girl she was running against. Thomas Sugden, another young man, had a big points day. He won both the men's 800 and the 400 metres, and he ran in both our relays, the 4x4 and the 4x1. The senior women were 1, 2, 3 in the 100 metres, so that was good. It really was a great event, and it was sunny, and the wind was blowing 25, 30 knots, and it was freezing. But despite that, some idiots went down to the beach and went into the sea swimming afterwards. No accounting for that. Moving on, in the US, we had quite a lot of athletes performing. Again, they're in the press release this week. Of note, Katie Ann McDonald ran a new PB for 1500 metres at 4:17:66, which was good. We had the Southern Counties Vet Championships at Lee Valley. We had 4 athletes there. Helen Godsall clocked the fastest times for the women's 65 and over both 60 metres and 200 metres. Ashley Reed ran a personal best over 60 metres, 7:78. So it was another good evening. Peter Hamilton clocked 13:58:61 in the 3,000 metres for second in the men's 70 base, and he won the men's 70 over 800 metres. So that was good. So that was track and field. Now I've got to recap. I missed out a couple of things last week. First of all, I missed out Ashley Pearson. If you remember, 2 weeks ago, Nick Curry presented Ashley with her Vice President's Award. She was the first lady in the Bedford Autodrome Marathon in 3 hours and 12 minutes, which is very good. And when I was doing the park run statistics, I missed out the fact that Roger Bezic, who's here, did a 17:46, which was a 90.24% age grade. So, going on to park run, this week we had 39 runners running in park run, 9 of whom completed it in under 20 minutes, 22 between 20 and 30 minutes, and then all the nice people who run with me were after that. Notable results: Alessio Tutt, first again at Orpington, he's 17:48. Carys Firth was the first lady at Bromley in 1902, and the other time I noticed was second at Bromley was Clayton Eves in 17:36. Clayton. The highlight of the park run week was really Jersey, where we had 2 club runners, one of whom finished in a very respectable 30th position, and that gentleman, dear old Tim Souter, nearly died of hypothermia waiting for me to finish about an hour and a half later. But I was interested looking at the Jersey Park Run. There's been 4 other people who have run the Jersey Park Run from the club. Zoe and Andy, you've both done it, haven't you? Yeah? And Keith Garrett and Peter Hamilton, whom I just mentioned on the Vets Indoor, he did in a very good time.
I've run it as well.
Sorry?
I've run it as well.
Oh, that's true. You're down to Zero to Heroes, aren't you?
Yeah.
I didn't right. I got 2 bonus balls here. First of all, from a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Rowe. And from last week, Bernie Bater.
Thank you.
Okay, so I just... Yes, I do, yes. A pint, please. There's the track and field athletics. I don't think there's anything serious until the 24th of April, but we've got an important match then over at Eton, because, as I understand it, the winner between us and Shaftesbury will be the club that represents the country in the European Club Championships. So that will be a bit of a needle match, I expect. A bit interesting. The other event coming up in the not too distant future is the Ted Pepper on the Bank Holiday Monday in May. So get your entries in for that. Dennis, anything on the social side that you need to?
Not yet, no.
No? Okay, working on it.
Working on it.
Okay. Anybody else got any news? Steve?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Just thank you for reminding us all about Ted Pepper. You may be aware that I'm looking for some marshals I've got about 20 at the moment, but I could do with a few more. So if you're not doing anything on Monday the 2nd and you haven't let me know, please let me know, because we want to make sure the event can run with a successful number of marshals. So thanks for your support.
Thanks, Steve. Anybody else? No? See you next week.